At the end of the day, as a house parent of Milton Hershey School, it's hard work, but it's rewarding.
It's rewarding.
One of the great things about this job is that you don't just impact kids on a yearly basis, but you're able to do it on an hourly basis.
When you work with people who have all decided to help children in need, you get some really unique and very compassionate people. Why don't you start with what you do pre-waking up?
So I'm usually out here about 6, maybe a little before that, getting ready for breakfast, and about 6:45 Tracy comes out and
I make sure everybody's awake. They wake up, they get dressed, they make their beds, tidy up their rooms, and then they come out, they trickle out to breakfast, and then we all sit down to breakfast at about 6:55. I take the girls back to brush teeth, then they do their different chores. We have short chores in the morning, and then if they're on task with all those things, they can come out here to the living room and enjoy some free time before school.
all right, school time.
Have a good day. See you later, girlies.
At about 7:15, we make sure everybody's in the van and we go to school.
When he takes the kids to school, I check emails and do paperwork in the office and make phone calls, and then make sure everything else is ready for when the kids get home for school.
There's so much to do on our off time that, we use that time to go, pick up what we need, whether it be at a store or, somewhere. Most of the times we stay and we rest.
Yeah, we do everything together. So
Oh yeah, we're always together.
we're always together. So
Even when we're off.
even when we're off.
As house parents, we start back up at 2, and that gives us a chance to check emails, look over the schedule for the afternoon, make sure we're not forgetting that somebody has an appointment somewhere. And then we pick up the girls at 3:10. We walk down to the school and change into play clothes. And then we get back outside. And we'll play outside for about an hour.
But there's also juggling who's going to go pick up this kid, who's going to go bring these kids back from dance class. You have to juggle the pieces of having 9 kids with different schedules.
When the kids get home from school, we usually do homework, and then if the weather's nice, they go out and play, and then we get things ready for dinner.
See you, boys. Have a good day.
We try to keep a pretty structured schedule for them.
I do most of the cooking. Yeah, and
We have dinner at 5:30, between 5:30 to 5:45, and then after then they will do the dinner cleanup, and then they start immediately after they start their study hour. They do that until 8 o'clock, and then we have evening snack.
We end the day with playtime down in the rec room, and the girls go change out of their play clothes into PJs. We gather around in the common area, and one of us will read a bedtime story. Then after that, I'll go and say goodnight to each girl. And
I tuck in our kids. I put our 2 to bed.
one of the things that we find most valuable for us in this job is the ability to work together. That was one of the things that intrigued us about Milton Hershey School, is it was a job that the 2 of us could do together. And now that we have our own children, serving together as a family is a really neat experience. That's not something that all families get to do, but it's fun to work alongside each other, team with each other, both as a couple and as a family.
At Milton Hershey School, the role of the house parent is to provide a safe, clean, friendly, and loving environment for every student.
As a house parent, a lot of times you want to see change really quickly, but then you realize that it's a process, it's a daily thing, it isn't just one step.
We do find this job and the vision of Milton and Catherine Hershey a very solid one, because they were thinking futuristically.
I think that Mr. and Mrs. Hershey would be proud to see all the kids that their legacy has touched.
This started with just a dream, just a little thought.
And his wife
And look at-
deciding, let's do a school. And look at it now.
Look at what I think you'd be
People-
very
I think
proud.
you'd be very proud, yes.
Yeah.